धन्यवाद।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो
अच्छा
भगवते
फिर
वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, chapter 24, last part. Teachings of Queen Kunti. One may go to hell, one may go to heaven, one may go back home, back to Godhead, as one likes. Therefore, an intelligent person should think, if I have to prepare for my next life, why not prepare to go back home, back to Godhead? So here, important part is intelligent person. So one's present body will be finished, and then one will have to accept another body. What kind of body one will accept is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha. Those who are in the mode of goodness, avoiding the four principles of sinful life, will live their next life on a higher planetary system. Even if one does not become a pure devotee of the Lord, if one follows the regulative principles for avoiding sinful life, one will remain in goodness and get this opportunity. See, this one, it looks like a very simple thing. Just following four regulative principles, one can actually go to higher planetary system. That means that it is such a difficult thing that going to higher planetary system is easy yet difficult. And simply following regulative principles, one can go, but it's difficult because people don't follow. And in Kali Yuga, mostly intoxication, at least in India, outside countries, illicit sex, but in India, intoxication, gambling. Gambling, all high return in stock investments are considered gambling. Gambling basically means, uh, trying to just multiply money. That's all. Any means by which we multiply money uh, very aggressively, right? Like people do day trading, very high return investments. And these are generally considered in that category of gambling. Meat eating. So many. I mean, yesterday I was just discussing this with a few devotees in our preaching area, Hulimau. And we see that there are a lot of non-vegetarian people who eat non-vegetarian, and that is the reason they don't come to the temple also center. And the reason they give is Sunday we eat non-vegetarian. So like localities. I mean, there are places where there are simply sinful people. They don't think they're sinful in other ways, right? They're not like killing somebody or doing some grossly bad things, but they're just simply breaking regulatory principles. That's all. So simply following regulatory principles, one can go to its punya. It's a life of piety. Other totomotu mistakes that one does, it doesn't. They'll just suffer for that. They'll possibly not go to. Don't have to go to hell for that, but they'll be little suffering for those mistakes that one does. But main thing is follow regulatory principles. This is very important. Human life is meant for this purpose. But if we waste our life just living like cats and dogs, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, then we shall lose this opportunity. Actually, we can see how much people are just drowned in material life. When you go out for book distribution, people don't want to literally even talk to us. Like they just shun us away. It just shows that, so much they don't even trust, sadhus. They don't even trust pious people, devotees who come and who are trying to help them better their life. find a way of happiness in life. They don't trust. So much they are because they're living a sinful life. Sinful life means they can't deal with piety. They can't deal with pious people. So much gross sinful life. Rascals, however, do not know this. They do not believe that there's a next life. In Russia, Professor Kotovsky told me, Swamiji, after this body is finished, everything is finished. He's a big professor. Yet still he said that such men may pose as scientists and philosophers, but actually they have no knowledge and they simply mislead others. This is our greatest source of grief, and therefore I have requested the members of the Krishna conscious movement to challenge and defeat these rascals who are misleading the entire human society. People should not think that the devotees of Krishna are mere sentimentalists. See what is happening to devotees today. Everybody is becoming sentimental. Why? Because they don't read Prabhupada's books. Nobody reads Prabhupada's books. Right? If one doesn't read Prabhupada's books, what will happen? We'll become sentimentalists. What difference between us and those people who are going to the temple and just doing whatever so-called devotional life or pious life? Just go put money in the hundi, take Mangalarti and then come. Prasadam and come. And what yesterday, I mean, we were in this Shiva temple distributing books and onion rice. I mean, the whole place was like smelling, and this is what it is. Temples also today, everybody is just sentimental. And Prabhupada did not want ISKCON to become sentimental, right? And today we see that if you talk to devotees and ask them basic three, four, like basic questions, basic philosophy, they don't understand. They don't know answers. They don't know what is the position of Guru. They don't know how to respect Guru. They don't know what they should be doing in life. Basic things. They don't know. They just don't know. Because they have not heard. They have not read. They have not heard. Sentimentally just doing practice of Krishna consciousness. Uh, Obviously, people will think we are sentimentalists. No, and Prabhupada is saying people should not think that devotees are sentimentalists. But possibly, if we don't have anything to tell somebody to teach them that they don't know, right, from our Shastra, then we also remain sentimentalists. Prabhupada is saying devotees are the greatest philosophers, greatest scientists. uh, but this cannot be achieved without proper training. Like literally Prabhupada said, like you should have military discipline. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, should engage in Krishna consciousness in a military discipline. And he also said that our temples are educational institutions. But if we don't make serious programs to educate our devotees, to train them, then we will just be like one another, other institutions, maybe, just sentimental devotion. That's all. So we have to seriously train devotees. It's very important. Krishna has two engagements, Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam, giving protection to the sadhus, the devotees, and killing the demons. Krishna gave protection to the Pandavas and Vrishnis because they were devotees. And he also killed demons like Kamsa, Aghasura, and Bakasura. After two engagements, his killing of the demons was his major occupation. Of course, Krishna himself doesn't come for this. Right? It's just Vishnu in Krishna who does all this killing demons. But actually, Krishna's purpose is different that we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we examine how much time he devoted to killing and how much time he devoted to protecting, we shall find that he devoted more time to killing. Similarly, those who are Krishna conscious should also kill, not by weapons, but by logic, by reasoning, and by education. See, if one is a demon, we can use logic and arguments to kill his demonic propensities and turn him into a devotee, a saintly person. Especially in this present age Kali Yuga, people are already poverty stricken and physically killing is too much for them. Physical killing is too much for them. They should be killed by argument, reasoning, and scientific spiritual understanding. Prabhupada is not saying sentimental bhakti. Mm. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the way, right? So we have to Yare Deko Tare Ko, we have to do that. Kunti addresses Krishna as Vishvesha, the Lord of the universe, Vishwa Isha. The universal affairs are going on so nicely with the sun rising just on time, the seasons changing, and the seasonal fruits and flowers making their appearance. Thus, there is no mismanagement. But how are these things going on so nicely? There's no controller. Last week, I was talking to somebody and I was surprised actually. I normally don't see uh, atheists, but somebody came to our center and I asked, saying that, do you believe in reincarnation? He said, no. How is this, sun rising on time, setting on time, etc.? This is nature. Who's controlling nature? It all happens by itself. It's very easy. Prabhupada has given us so many tools to actually break their stupidity. Uh, then at least before going, he's stopped arguing, and you know. So we should try to convince. It's very easy. Reincarnation is very easy to convince. Ishvara is still little difficult for those people, but that reincarnation is there is very easy to establish. I'll give a logic now. You can try wherever required. So first question I ask people is saying that, do you believe in God? Yeah, those who don't believe in God, they are the atheists. For them, we have to deal with them differently. But these are the theists, the people who believe in God but don't believe in reincarnation. So then you said, people say yes, we believe in God. Then you said, do you believe that God is good? Mostly, everybody says God is good. Um, so then we say that, okay, God is good. At one point of time, at the same time, in two different places, two children were born. One was born blind, and the other was born with in a very rich family, very comfortable, very good looking, everything. What? Why did this happen? Then somebody answers karma, and then you say, yeah, the child is just born, so it has not done anything in this life. Then how did this happen? And you are saying God is good, so God did not put a toss and decide I'm going to just like pain this particular jiva. So what is happening? Then again go back to the karma logic, saying that, see, what you do, so as you do, so you reap. So which means that you've done something, that jiva has done something. But when it's not done anything in this life because it's just born, that means it must have done something in the previous life. So it's a very simple logic to prove that there is reincarnation. If we see any establishment going on very well, we immediately understand that the manager, director, yeah, Rohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding like reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
People who does vikarma, they go to hellish planets and they go through the suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, like, why do they have to suffer again in the next birth?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Okay.
it not get completed in the hellish planet?
Yeah, yeah. So see, basically, this whole hellish planet business is for someone who's like very grossly sinful. Somebody who was giving a class on Garuda Purana a few months back in our temple, he was saying, I have not read this part, but I just heard him say that when somebody has a lot more papa than punya, like generally he was giving an example, like say more than 50% papa, such a person ends up, because it's a very grossly sinful life, such person ends up um, in Naraka. And the idea of Naraka is first to gross punishments are given so that he will not repeat that grossness. Mm,
Right.
but then that punishment is not complete because the jiva is so, I mean, adamant to continue sinful life, that actually it will come down and it will take. Actually, it is said that they are trained to take lower bodies in hell,
Ah, okay.
and then they come back like a pig, or like some really lower jiva, uh,
Oh,
and then they have to again evolve slowly into human form. the people who are suffering, human beings who are suffering, are not those possibly who last life gone to hell. They're just like, that borderline punya papa people, right? Who do some pious life also, and who do
Oh,
some sinful life also, and they have to come back and suffer. And somewhere else I heard, it's a very complex topic, but somewhere else
uh,
I heard that punishment is not complete. Punishment continues even after coming here also. So much of sinful activities. And so it's I'm because Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Prabhupada has not very clearly spoken about this in detail,
mhm.
but yeah, some devotees who read from other Puranas, etc., I've heard this.
Okay. That,
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
from
please.
like the Guru Pran, like when there is a death in the house, what I understand is like the subtle body goes through the punishment, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I mean it's the soul, like it's the which,
No,
and then you get
uh,
back the physical body to undergo what you've done.
yeah, actually, it's not the
If I
subtle body. It's actually the subtle body. See, the pain of the subtle,
then
it's given actually, it's an intermediate body. It's a body
okay,
between gross and subtle, such that
uh-huh.
the pain is actually experienced. See, because
Yes,
there's
it
a
is.
difference between the bodily pain and mental pain, right? Because subtle means only mind. Pain
Yes,
of the
Prabhuji.
mind is not as excruciating as pain of the body, right? Like somebody can, if there's pain in the mind, somebody can just drink, right?
Hmm.
Or something, right? Like, I mean, the bodily pain. So it is actually given a body which, because the punishment in hell, no, if you read
Hmm.
fifth canto, 26th chapter, right? Punishment in hell is gross. Gross meaning it's like
Yes,
literally like, physical kind of punishment. It's not
yes,
mental kind of punishment, right? And for
uh,
that physical type of punishment, our body, the current gross body that one has in the material in on earth, cannot sustain that. Person will die, right? So a body is given which is between the gross and subtle, such that he will experience the pain, but he will not die. And then, of course, that body is, after the punishment is over, that body is taken back, and then the jiva with his subtle body will come back. Now, where he comes back, that's what seem to be two versions. I'm not very sure about this. One is that they'll come back to lower species because they are really not qualified to be human beings, and the other says they'll come back, possibly in human beings to continue some more punishment. So uh, yeah, but the that one I'm clear that there is some body between gross and subtle which the person gets, not necessarily the subtle, and it's not the gross also.
because Prabhuji, like in like with the Muslims, they say the ruh, either it goes back to Allah or it becomes a global this thing and it goes to hell. There's nothing in intermit like under
Nah,
there's suffering or something.
their
Yeah,
understanding is incomplete.
sorry, yeah.
Their
Yes,
understanding is
yes, Prabhu.
incomplete. Yeah, yeah,
Prabhuji, it's in the middle of the class, but can I add something like what you had said about the
yeah, yeah,
food?
yeah, yeah.
Prabhu, it so happened like many years ago, I was with the food minister and we had gone for his daughter's wedding to one of the mutts in Ara. Prabhu, the
Mm-hmm.
Swamiji there also, when we sat down in the langar to have prashadam, it was full of onion garlic, Prabhu, and the Swamiji
Mm-hmm.
was also eating.
Mm-hmm.
I get Brahmins home, from Lears to do. They come. They also eat onion garlic, and from
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
even like once a month. There's a they all eat
yeah,
Tirutani. They all eat onion garlic, Prabhu. And tea and coffee
yeah,
it's only
yeah,
like
yeah,
I mean.
yeah,
And I was shocked when I went to the mutt.
yeah,
It was a big mutt,
yeah,
and they sat down in the langar, and the prasadam was with onion garlic.
yeah. Food was onion garlic.
Well,
Yeah.
Hare
Fine.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat, Prabhu.
in the eighth canto,
Uh-huh.
only Bhagavatam telling about names of 28 narkas.
Fifth
These are
canto.
the
Yeah,
28
yeah,
narkas.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
And what you do Kumbhi you will go Kumbhi
yeah,
that way.
yeah,
What
yeah,
so that way. But
yeah.
Garud Puran explained the law totally on that one actually.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, Garuda Purana has a lot more details. Actually,
What is
Bhagavatam,
that?
Sukadeva Goswami just says that there are thousands of hells, but I'm only telling the important
Yeah,
ones.
28 one can 28.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And after showing him Naraka that And he, that Sukdev, I think, if I remember, Shukdev Goswami says to Parikshit, "Okay, you don't worry, actually, you don't worry. Done it."
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think at end of Bhagavati asked, "Ke tum maroge?" So then he says, when I'm not born, so why I'll die, actually.
Yeah. And actually, after the fifth canto, Shukadeva Goswami talks about Ajamila. Sixth canto, he says that Parikshit Maharaj then question comes saying that, oh, then how does one escape from hell? And that's when Shukadeva Goswami narrates Ajamila's pastime and say that, yeah, you can not only escape from hell, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. Soumya Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare
No problem.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, just it is like a extension of the questions which another Mataji has asked. Sometimes like karma, like we born and we suffer. Sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
meet a good people who
Mm-hmm.
keeps us engaging in certain devotion or spiritual activity. Sometimes we meet a people who makes us go into the material lusts and
Mm-hmm.
other things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we born into certain families where we will be not raised with certain values or certain spirituality, but some people will inhibit within themselves
Mm-hmm.
somebody will born in a Muslim family will be
Mm-hmm.
more devotional, somebody will born in a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Brahmin's family
Yeah.
and more evil in nature. Does
Mm-hmm.
the people influence and the way we born does really matters? Like I read it in the like Prabhupada, I mean Srila
Mm-hmm.
Prabhupada's book, that is, if we have a good karma, we will born in rich family or Brahmin's family. If we
Mm-hmm.
have a bad karma, we will born in certain poor family. That
Yeah.
that really, really, really matters. Even
Yeah.
sometimes I can ask you, for a girl or a boy getting married to one person, it usually matters, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
after getting married, the partner will influence lot
Yeah.
regarding spiritual or social life.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will always want, I mean, when we are spiritual, we'll seek for someone who is a spiritual.
Yeah.
Does really we will meet someone who is a spiritual, or just like karma as we get from our karma which we have made in our past life by choosing like our parents, will we choose even a partners like that, even a friends like that? Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. So if I understand your question right, see, if some people are, we should understand Kali Yuga is a very complicated age. First of all, to understand how karma works, right? Because it's all mixed up. See, previously there used to be, if somebody is Sattvic, he used to be like, majorly Sattvic, right? Majority of his life he would be Sattvic, little bit unknown here and there. A Brahmana might end up doing some little mistakes for which also he knew the way of Prayashchitta. Right, so the Varnashrama in the previous Vedic age was very, very pure, actually, irrespective whether one was a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. They were just doing their duties just like in Bhagavad Gita, and their lives were very pure, was very pure. So it was very easy to understand if somebody is sinful, he's really sinful, he's suffering. If somebody is not sinful, he's not sinful at all, and he's like, living a comfortable, peaceful, happy life. But in Kali Yuga, because of the multiple influences that people go through, it's a mixed bag. So that is why we cannot say that any person is in goodness or in passion or ignorance. Everybody is in all the three modes, right? Which means that we've done actions in the past which possibly result in mixed kind of results. That is why our lives are mixed, right? So it's actually it's a very good observation, right? Sometimes some people are born in good family, but they pick up bad qualities. That means that they have one part of their karma phala which gave them birth in a good family. Now, obviously, then question becomes, what is a good family? If it was actually good, that person would have got the kind of training, mentoring, or culture that he or she should have got. So, which means that it's not really a good family, but it's a slightly better family. That's all, right? So, a little bit of his karma, his or her karma, brought him into a slightly better house than no, not, but his or her other karmas have influenced him or her to associate with people, etc., or take up, do things which are not really good, right? So it's a complete mixed bag. Now, there are two things we have to understand when we talk about karma, right? This we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita, but since we are discussing this, see, in every human being's life, there are two parts. There is one which is karma phala. Karma phala is what we have to suffer or enjoy, which is thrown upon us, thrust upon us, wherein we don't really have an option to escape, right? For example, somebody is going through severe, health problem. Now, that severe health problem is just showing that previous life it was some life, some sinful activities, and we are suffering for that. But when we are living in this life, we can choose, we can use our free will to decide what we need to do. Now, for example, you're talking about, whether the kind of association we get, is that fully influenced by previous life? Not fully, but it could be majorly influenced, right? Like, for example, the kind of people who will possibly come in touch with us and with whom we might develop some kind of, friendship, etc. uh, or it could be heavily driven by our past karma, but we have the free will to decide, to see, saying that, okay, this person doesn't seem to be good, or this association is not going to help me, so I don't want to associate with this person. That free will is available with us. Of course, we are not strong enough to exercise free will. That is why we have to come in touch with devotees or pious people who will, and when we hear from them, we could redirect our free will. Okay. But mostly normal, common people, human beings who are caught up in the modes of material nature can't make this distinction, and they just go on, right? Some people who have some piety, which we call bhakti unmukha sukruti, they come in touch with devotees and change their lives. And they change their lives not because of their abilities, but just because of the mercy of the devotees. So it's very complicated. And that is why actually our acharyas, like specifically Prabhupada, wanted us to go out and distribute books, distribute this mercy, because somebody might be really sinful and no hopes of coming to bhakti in this life, right? Or maybe in even near future lives. But when a devotee goes and distribute books, right, or brings them in contact with, temple or Krishna consciousness, chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, etc., right? So then what happens is, then there is a possibility that because of that use of free will, that person might actually overcome the results of, the bondage that he or she was stuck in, right? And obviously, yes, marriage is a very, very important decision. And those who are spiritually inclined should find, spouses who are spiritually inclined, because otherwise, yeah, like you said, social, really spiritual life might be pushed in a wrong direction, which might not be conducive for that atma. And even materially also, people, one has to follow this, jataka system, the horoscope matching, because that at least will show alignment between the boy and the girl. And that alignment is important, because then if the girl is somewhat spiritual, the boy might also be to some extent spiritual, like that, right? So its horoscope alignment is very, very important. Otherwise, of course, if somebody is in Krishna consciousness, then simply we have to try find a boy who is Krishna conscious. Otherwise, chances, I mean, it's a tough one, right? After that, marrying a non-devotee, and then a lot of struggle, right? I've seen so many devotees go through so much of years of struggle, and then obviously relations get affected, but they still go on as husband and wife because society and this and that and all that. But it's really not ideal. Yeah, but yeah, if you find a devotee, if a devotee finds another devotee for a life partner, then it's much easier.
Sorry, Prabhu, can I ask something?
Yeah.
Like you're saying free will. Many a times, like it's not even free will, and so many times you don't even understand the course of action we do, or we
Yeah.
slip into something.
Yeah.
And what is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
many extramarital affairs we see. She says, I don't even know. Kaise aise ho gaya? Ho gaya.
Yeah.
What is it? It's not
Yeah.
free will. It's not. And you're a good person.
Yeah.
You're a sattvic person, and still something
Yeah.
you don't rob, but sometimes you rob. Why, Prabhu? Like
Yeah, that
I mean,
is what I was that is what I was
I
saying.
have.
Yeah, that, see, the when we are saying sattvic, Now, that is just one aspect of a person's life which is influenced by his previous good karma. But this person, like, in Kali Yuga, very complicated. So they also possibly done some sinful things. And the result of that sinful things is evil, basically kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, right? And this influences or draws people to do some wrong things. Now, this is purely, it could be two things, right? One is um, somebody came and like somebody does something very helplessly. This helplessly is a very important thing to distinguish between a karma phala and misuse of a free will. When somebody is doing something very helplessly, meaning he just doesn't want, he doesn't think that it is right, but he's getting drawn, pulled into doing something, mostly it is karma phala, right? But it's a very complicated thing. I'm not qualified to exactly 100% perfectly answer this, but this is what my understanding has been. And when somebody is not like forcefully being pushed to do something, but by they're making a choice, they're sitting peacefully in their house and saying, I want to go get drunk. Right now, this is a complete misuse of free will. This is not thrust upon it. What is thrust upon it? Some people like just immediately have some friends come home, and then literally they're like pouring liquor in making somebody forcefully drink liquor. That could be seen as a result of past karma, and this person is trying to resist, saying no, 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 I don't want, right? But when a person decides, no, no, I want to go and get drunk today, right? That's a complete misuse of free will, right? Now, normal human beings can't distinguish this, differentiate this, because they don't even understand that they have a free will, right? Now, even devotees many a times are not able to differentiate this, right? Free will versus karma phala. And that is why we have to read and hear and become more conscious. The more conscious we become, automatically we'll be able to recognize, saying that no, 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 this is not good. I don't want to do this, but I'm being pushed to do this. So that means it's my karma phala. I have to take shelter of Krishna. I have to take shelter of Guru. But otherwise, it is possible to distinguish to some extent. Forcefully being pushed to do something is previous karma phala, right? But by choice doing something is free will.
But at that time, do you remember the Guru and Krishna? Because you just slip into it. It's just a force of,
Yeah, yeah, which
if
is
you do, then you won't do that, no, Prabhu.
correct. Yeah,
You
that is
don't,
what.
then you won't do that action.
Yeah, that is what yesterday I answered this
You just take
question.
it as karma phala.
No, no,
Yes, yes, you
yesterday I
get.
answered
That
this,
means
right?
you get more. Yeah, that means you get more entrapped. Again, you get entrapped.
Yeah,
You have
yeah. I
to.
mean, this is that apichet suduracharo, right? See, for a devotee, when a devotee ends up doing something which he should not, he understands that he's been dragged to a lower level of consciousness, and like I said yesterday, one has to sincerely repent this instance, right? After it happens, he has to sincerely repent and beg for mercy and strength so that he doesn't repeat it the next time. Now, it doesn't mean that one occurrence of this and suddenly we become sadhus, right? It might take us years. It might take us months, years, based on how serious we are about getting out of that anartha and how serious that anartha itself is, right? And which is why it is said that we have to just have somebody who can pull us out of all these things, and that is the need for obviously a very close if there is a very nice relationship with the guru and guru available, then obviously that's the best thing. But since that doesn't happen for us in today's world, that is why Rupa Goswami says guhyam akyati pruchati. Right, in Upadeshamrita, he says that every devotee should have at least one confidant, one person, one devotee with whom he or she 100% opened up. Right, and ideally, it's Matajis with Matajis and Prabhus with Prabhus, because that has resulted in other complications in ISKCON. Uh, who can actually pull us out? If I am stuck in an anartha, I make it a point to discuss it with my seniors, right? Who I confident that they have the ability to give me the philosophical view as well as pull me out, right? And that requires, that requires surrender to some devotees. If we don't surrender, then if we are all by ourselves, then we are just independent, right? And this independence is, there's no place for independence in spiritual life. This is what I understand.
Shall I add something,
Yeah,
Prabhu?
please,
Can
please,
I
Prabhu. Yeah,
can I answer to Samudra on my
yeah.
which I gone through actually?
Yes,
Once
yes.
I have my one cousin stays here, so I have not
Mm.
met him for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So he was sitting in club. He called Ashok. We have not met for a long time, and he drinks and smokes also. So he said, "You come to club. We'll meet after a long time. We have not met." I said, "Okay." So I was initiated, but I went to him actually, and he was drinking and he was smoking, puffing actually a lot, and that smoke was coming to me because earlier I used to smoke actually, and that smoke made me slightly mad actually. Okay, I should take one cigarette from him or smoke or I take one puff. After I was resisting. Then suddenly I told him, Ravi, either you stop your smoking or I am leaving actually. Now it is, I have reached some stage where I now registering has become difficult for me actually.
Okay, nice point.
Then he stopped the smoking actually. He said, okay, I won't smoke. Then he used to, if he has to smoke, he used to go out a little far and smoke and come.
Okay, nice. Yeah, thank
So
you.
that is sometimes it was not there. I was got saved. Krishna Guru mercy, I was saved that time actually.
Correct. No, but yeah, that the presence, that even that willingness, saying that no, I don't want to get stuck here. I think that is still for use of free will. That is the good use of free will. And then Krishna immediately, Guru and Krishna will shower their mercy, help the devotee out. Thank you, Guru. Thank you for sharing.
And another one point I tell you about book that my Guru, my mother came to see him actually in Mayapur, and she brought one book for him.
Okay.
And she gave presented him one book that how Christians are preaching actually.
Okay.
And Guru had gone through that book. He found that this book is based on the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's way of preaching actually.
Okay.
Immediately he gave that book to team of devotees, work out. Then this Bhakti Vriksha system started from that book actually.
Oh, okay.
So how that Bhakti Vriksha changed millions of people in the world actually. So one book has changed. You see how that way of preaching and congregation preaching has been started actually.
Okay.
Sorry, she telling you taking a lot of time.
No problem. No problem, Prabhu.
Sorry,
I mean, we are here
we get
to
carried away sometimes. Sorry,
No,
Prabhuji.
it's okay. It's all adding to the value to the conversation. Thank you. Okay. So I think anyway we've crossed our 9:08. So let me just finish this one paragraph. Yeah, if you see any establishment going on very well, we immediately understand that the manager, director, or controller of the institution is expert. Similarly, if you see the universal affairs going on nicely, we must know that behind them is a good controller. And who is that controller? That controller is Krishna, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Therefore, Kunti addresses him as Vishwesha, the controller of the universe. People are interested only in pictures of Krishna embracing Radharani that depict the dealings of Radha and Krishna to be like those of ordinary boys and girls. They don't understand Krishna. Such obnoxious pictures should be avoided. See, this also again, I mean, I see like so many devotees having photos which was not approved or which was not part of the photos which Prabhupada had approved. And they're Radha and Krishna, but they're just some karmi who's drawn some nonsense. Right. So in devotees' houses, if we have pictures, it should be only those which have been approved by Srila Prabhupada, which means that it is in the Krishna art, right? In the books, in Bhagavatam, in what has been approved by Srila Prabhupada, only those pictures we should have. We should not have some random pictures, right? And we have seen this in many devotees' houses, like Radha and Krishna's photos and all that. We should not make it very cheap. Krishna is the supreme controller. Let there be a picture showing how Krishna is controlling the whole universe. That kind of picture is wanted, not these cheap pictures. So Prabhupada is making it clear. And even Radha Krishna pictures, like I said, it's those approved by Prabhupada. We can put. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll stop here. There's one more class to finish this chapter properly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rohini Mataji, you still had something to add?
No problem. I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anybody wants to say anything? Okay, then we'll conclude. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.